Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, the full version is available on Patreon. I'll be uploading all my content there going forward.
Chapter 1. The rain was not heavy. A group of people were scanning the red meat-like thing with instruments. In addition to the sound of dripping rain, there were occasional screams. Monsters kept coming out to attack humans and eat their bodies. Those with weaker strength would be killed directly and then eaten. When others had no clue, Yunqiu had already found Kaneki Ken's location. Yunqiu, who had a transparent world, could find Kaneki Ken's location as easily as a radar scan. Yunqiu had just crossed over to this world, and he relied on the transparent world that was like a cheat to sneak attack from a purebred Yuhi little trash all the way and ate himself to the current SSS level. Because he knew the plot, Yunqiu waited in advance, tore off a large piece of Kami Shiro Rizukaki, and found an unscrupulous doctor to transplant it to himself. Fortunately, the ghoul had a strong recovery ability, otherwise he would have died on the operating table. Through the same method, she also got the scaled Keiku of the gecko, 2 SS-level Keiku, and 1 SS-level tail Keiku, and collected 4 types, 6 top-level Keiku packages, and became the desperate woman who was terrified by CCG. With her reputation, Yunqiu became more and more timid, mainly because Yunqiu had fought with Fanken 8 once. Although she won, she also realized the power of high-end combat power in this world. Yunqiu beat other people like a weakling, and directly shot with Keiku, sending them all to see the King of Hell. But it is still very difficult to fight the high-end combat power in these plots, especially Arima Takasho, who is not aware of his strength. He is afraid of being killed by Arima Takasho, so he can only hide. Relying on the spirit of greed for life and fear of death, she survived until Kaneki became the one-eyed king, and then started a war. Kaneki, who became a dragon, is more attractive than before, and more fragrant. Yunqiu tasted Kaneki's blood once, and finally understood why Yushishi couldn't eat anything else. The wild boar finally ate a mouthful of fine bran, who would want to eat the garbage from the beginning. Thinking that it was the end, it should be over soon, Yunqiu was driven by the sweetness in his memory to Kaneki Ken's side, holding his arm and drooling wildly. "I'll just eat a mouthful. I'll run after eating. I'll come back after they're done fighting. Never eat too much, never affect Kaneki's later monster fighting." He thought so in his heart, but after Yunqiu tasted the taste, he lost his mind directly, and the original mouthful turned into an arm, or even a whole person. From a distance, a girl with long silver-white hair was lying on the ground eating something, and her skirt had long been soaked with blood. Kaneki Ken could feel someone gnawing at him, but he couldn't open his eyes, his body was heavy, and his consciousness was not clear. Seeing his body being torn apart, Yunqiu had already uncontrollably stretched his hand to his heart, and the world consciousness finally couldn't sit still. "This is my protagonist. You are an outsider, just eat a little. You can't kill him." Originally, the world consciousness was somewhat dissatisfied with this powerful outsider, but it didn't know who put him in this world, so it could only be cowardly and pretend not to see it. Now this situation. If you keep pretending to be blind, even the son of luck will be killed. While the plot of the next world has not started yet and the world consciousness has not awakened, it directly opened a space-time rift and threw people over. Unlucky. Let's go quickly. Please don't come back, I'm scared. Yunqiu still had a trace of reason, and felt that he was pulled into a dark place, and then began to fall continuously. Fell to the ground with a snap. What the hell? It seems broken. It hurts. In order to repair his body, Yunqiu went into a deep sleep directly, and took a lot of Kaneki Ken's flesh and blood. The RC cells in his body were very active, which was enough to repair his body. When he woke up again, Yunqiu saw a wooden roof. Chapter 2. Yunqiu looked around and sat up. The surrounding environment looked so retro. "Are you okay? Have a drink of water." A very gentle voice came. Yunqiu turned around and saw a woman in her 30s, wearing a kimono and looking kind. Yunqiu took the water, thanked her and just took a sip. After all, ghouls drink blood to replenish water, and this water is really hard to drink, like drinking swill. Although the surrounding environment is clean and spacious, there are rarely such houses in modern cities. No. This is not Tokyo. It may not even be modern. Yunqiu can still feel the pulling feeling before coming here. It feels like being stuck in a pipe, but being torn around. Moreover, there is no clock or other time display in this room. Generally, such items are placed in the living room or the most conspicuous place in the room. There is no clock or other time display in this room. Yunqiu cleared his throat and started to get information. Thank you, Auntie. How come I am here? The old lady also explained the situation quickly. I went to the town to buy something and saw you lying in a pool of blood. Your clothes were dirty. I thought you were a bandit who came down the mountain to rob. When I got closer, I found that you had no wounds on your body. I asked a doctor to see you. He said that you were fine. Seeing that your clothes were dirty, he helped you change. Outside. Yunqiu nodded and quickly found an identity for herself. I was moving with my family, and we encountered robbers, got separated halfway, and fell down the mountain. Thank you, Auntie, for bringing me back. What time is it now? My brother and the others must be looking for me. They must be worried if it's been too long. Auntie seemed to be recalling, I brought you back yesterday afternoon, and I didn't hear anyone looking for someone nearby. You may have to spend some time looking for your family. Auntie. I actually want to know the year. You can at least tell me the date. Yunqiu didn't ask too much, so she could only nod and thank him. Auntie, where are my clothes from before? There are important things in them, I can't lose them. Hearing Yunqiu mention clothes, Auntie took out a package from the cabinet behind her, which contained a clean long skirt and a white windbreaker. The most important thing is mobile phone. Pick up the phone. Yunqiu turned it on and found that there was no network and the data was useless, so she had to put it back again. The body has recovered. In a strange place, it is best to understand the situation quickly. Yunqiu took off her pair of gemstone earrings and put them in the hands of the old lady. Thank you for saving my life. This pair of earrings is to thank you for saving me. I have to leave quickly to find my family. Yunqiu got the earrings from a jewelry store. They are pure sapphires and are ridiculously expensive. However, for Yunqiu, they are just beautiful decorations that can be taken whenever she wants. The old lady seemed to be frightened by Yunqiu's generosity and refused to return them to her. After the two argued, the old lady kept one earring and gave Yunqiu some money, enough for 2 or 3 days of food. The moment she got the money, Yunqiu knew that something was wrong. Why does this money look like something in a history book? Could it be that she really went back to the past? No wonder there is no network on the phone. Has love not been invented yet? How can Yunqiu, a stay-at-home girl, kill time? How can I survive? My cell phone is my lifeblood. I forced myself to say goodbye to my aunt, but when I turned around, I saw the rolling mountains. There was not a single tall building, nor a single electric wire. What kind of mountain valley is this? I am devastated. My family. Yunqiu felt like she was going to break apart. Ghouls don't live long. I have been hiding for so long, and I have survived, but this is not the way to live. It is daytime now, and Yunqiu cannot fly. After all, ghouls are forbidden to eat humans in any world, not to mention in such a backward era. If she flies, won't she be regarded as a monster? Chapter 3. By asking along the way, he determined the direction of a relatively large town nearby and headed towards it. After entering the mountain, Yunqiu released Yuhi and began to travel through the woods at a very fast speed, and it was impossible to catch his figure. Yuhi is Yunqiu's natural herb, so his control is stronger than other herb. With Yuhi, he traveled much faster than before, and reached the other side of the mountain before dark. Looking at the large green fields at the foot of the mountain, there are many people busy in it. It seems to be a relatively rich town. After going down the mountain, he found that these people were staring at him. Yunqiu checked his clothes and there was no problem. He was still wearing the clothes of an ant's daughter. He was only 166 centimeters tall and only 24 years old. It was not strange to wear pink, right? Yunqiu soon came to a conclusion: he was too beautiful. It's no wonder Yunqiu is conceited. Her face is the ceiling of pure desire. With this head of white hair, she will definitely be the heroine in a romance drama. But in Tokyo Ghoul, alas! Pub future ads. I am a cannon fodder, so I can only survive. I asked a teenage girl for directions and found out that there is no bookstore in this town. Bookstores have always been the best place to get information. This place looks big, but it seems that it is just a place with a large population and poor development. After asking around, I found a place to stay. Fortunately, Yunqiu had eaten a lot before, so she was not very hungry and didn't want to kill people casually. Lying on the bed, I thought about where to go next. Listening to these people chatting, it seemed that it was not very peaceful now, and it was difficult to have enough food. Since I am here, I will make the best of it and survive. Yunqiu was sleeping soundly, but was awakened by something pinching her neck. The two scales immediately tore her clothes and chopped the thing that was pinching her into scallion segments. The black and red Kogun eyes saw the thing on the ground, and vaguely revealed surprise. What is this? It's so ugly. Is such an ugly thing a human? It was clearly broken into pieces, but the blood pieced the body fragments together. Although it was slow, it was indeed repairing. Could it be a ghoul? But the smell was wrong. Yunqiu got out of bed directly and pried open the eyes of the head on the ground. The eyeballs were pitch black. It's not a ghoul? Could it be a new species? Seeing it repairing, Yunqiu broke it again, as if it couldn't be killed. There was no way, Yunqiu could only use Yuhi to fix this thing on the ground, and only made a separate Kogun trap to ensure that it would not escape. He planned to see what was going on tomorrow. He lay on the bed in a daze and continued to sleep. The next day, the sun shone through the window, shining on the ground, burning the weak ghost to ashes. Ding! Kill a ghost, system activated. The sudden sound startled Yunqiu, who was sleeping soundly, and he jumped out of bed. Warning! The host's strength has deviated, and the cause has begun to be checked. Then, Yunqiu felt something sweeping across his body, light but still felt. Mission: survive to the end. Achievement: dominate one side, and be feared. Achieved. Rewards are being distributed. The series of operations was so fast that Yunqiu had no time to react, but it seemed that his system had arrived. But he seemed to have cleared the level, and now it was the scene of the winning MVP settlement. Yunqiu cleared his throat. System, can you explain the current situation? Silence. System? Hello? Are you still there? Host, please be quiet, this system is organizing language. It is a system with personality. Chapter 4. After 4 or 5 minutes, the system spoke again. This system is called the Overlord system. Do you know how to name it? I am embarrassed to brag about it when you call me that. How can a little girl like me have a turtle system like yours? Fortunately, the system can't hear the complaints in my heart, otherwise I will definitely argue with her for a long time. The host was supposed to cross over into Demon Slayer to carry out the mission, but due to the system positioning error, the host entered Tokyo Ghoul. No wonder I have a transparent world. It feels like the system has opened a cheat for me. Once the transparent world is opened, ghouls and humans can be distinguished in minutes, and there is no need to smell them with your nose. The main task, survive to the end, has been completed, and the achievement has been lit up, and the crossing task has ended. Now issue rewards and settle accounts. Get rewards. Immortal body, can be reborn with a drop of blood, immortal. Hearing this, Yunqiu was almost moved to tears. Finally, there is some hope. Before crossing over, Yunqiu had a serious illness and had no money to treat it, so he could only wait to die. That's why he cherishes his second life so much and works so hard to improve his strength, but he is too timid to go out. Now, the seal is lifted, and I'm going out to have fun. Get reward, devour. You can eat human food, but you can't replenish RC cells. The body of a ghost contains a large number of RC cells, and you can maintain your life by devouring ghosts, and you may get rare blood ghost arts. Not bad. Longevity plus power equals invincible in the world. The system is very popular with me. The most important thing. You can eat. Finally, it's not eating human flesh. Finally, I can eat something else, but I don't know if the taste will return to normal. Get reward, assimilation. You can use blood to assimilate people into ghouls, and randomly get kakuzo, and the host has absolute control, similar to the control of Musen Kibutsu over ghosts. I understand this. A must-have skill for a scumbag boss. Yunqiu's way of survival is learned from him. He doesn't ask to be exactly the same, but only to save his life. If there is something, just let it go and solve it, never do it yourself. What I want is a cool style. Get reward, SSS-level cook's punishment, with 4 forms of knife, sword, shield, and bow, which can be used to kill demons and ghouls. Weapon +1. Yunqiu has learned sword, but he just gestured, not proficient. Come to Demon Slayer, I must learn some breathing techniques. I don't know if Tsugakoku Yuichi is still there. Will he chop me? After all, I also eat people. After waiting for a while, I found that there was no sound system. Is there no reward? Yes, this system is unbinding. Leaving in 3 minutes, the host can ask about related matters. System, are you daily throwaway? You have been here for less than an hour, and you don't even sit down to drink tea before leaving? Or give me some more cheats. It's better to ask something serious. What time is it now? Where has the plot developed? It's the Warring States period now. Musen has become the Demon King, and Tsugakoku Yoriichi will be born in 72 years. What do you say when you suddenly become an ancient person? Then can I change the plot? Will I be punished? You can change it. There are many derivative worlds like this. The time travelers change the plot in different worlds without affecting each other. The system's words made Yunqiu a little strange. Why? What is the purpose of time travel? Find the best ending and maintain the balance of the two-dimensional world. Is it acceptable? My phone is out of power and network, is there any way? The system seemed to be stunned for a moment, and then still answered calmly, as a reward, it can automatically store power and connect to the network synchronously. By host. Chapter 5. The system came and went quietly, but helped Yunqiu fully charge her phone. With the internet, the first thing she did was to check the news. The internet seemed to be connected to Tokyo, but the speed was super fast and very easy to use. However, both worlds were virtual worlds, and the history was also somewhat different, so it could only be used as a reference. After searching for a long time, Yunqiu finally decided where she wanted to go. Not long after she left, she discovered a big problem. No money. All the money was spent on housing, and that little money was not enough to spend, and it was gone in 2 days. The only things worth money on her body were earrings and diamond rings. There was only 1 earring left, and Yunqiu found a pawn shop and sold it directly, and got a lot of money, but it was still not enough. In the past, when she had no money, she would rob those ghouls. Anyway, whoever had the bigger fist had the final say, and they didn't dare to call the police if they were robbed. But now, the world is in chaos, robbing money is life-threatening, and those without money simply can't get enough food, which is equivalent to cutting off their livelihood. Just bear with it for now, it's not like there's no chance to eat. The mobile navigation doesn't work, but the compass should be okay, right? At night, as soon as the compass was turned on, Yuhi flew directly, and the speed was still very fast. It took 3 days to reach Tokyo today. In the future, this can only be regarded as a well-developed town, but here it is already a prosperous area. The night is the home of ghosts. Yunqiu originally wanted to walk a distance to Tokyo, but he heard a giggling sound in the woods, and it was getting closer and closer. The nose of the ghoul is also special, and it can smell the difference between humans and non-humans. The smell is fishy and obviously not human. It seems, it's another ghost. The figure is getting closer and closer, and is about to bite off the neck of the prey with a pounce, but is hit hard to the ground by an unknown object, and cannot move. Yunqiu looked at this humanoid monster who was weaker than a D-level ghoul and was choked by his tail. He was not interested. There were no 12 demon moons at this time, right? What's your name? Yunqiu only got a scream in response. It seemed that everything made by Musen was garbage. Yunqiu just ran out of money, so he searched this guy and didn't find a penny. Poor guy. Poorer than himself. He took out the heavenly punishment from the system backpack and tried to stand 100 meters away and shoot the ghost with a bow. I can only say that the aim was not very good. It shot in the stomach and went straight through the middle. The high temperature burned the ghost to death. The system was quite reliable. Although it left a backpack of 10 cubic meters, which could hold a lot of things. I usually put cookin in it and take it whenever I need it. Sure enough, making money is the first necessity no matter where you are. Entering Tokyo, there are still many people walking on the street at night, and the food and accommodation are finally decent. Yunqiu found a cart vendor, ate some udon noodles, and then climbed over the wall into the house to rest. You get used to it after doing it more. Yunqiu was embarrassed before, but now he can skillfully distinguish where there are people and where there are no people. He stayed in Tokyo for more than a year, robbed many robbers during this period, and ate the murderers he met as food. There are also many ghosts, and their strength seems to have become stronger, but for Yunqiu, they are still rookies. The accumulation of wealth always makes people happy. The Demon Slayer core here is not as mature as CCG, and he doesn't have to hide from place to place. In the eyes of the Demon Slayer core, there are no ghosts in broad daylight. So Yunqiu is not panicked at all. And in Yunqiu's hunting ground, Tokyo is much more peaceful, at least no ghost dares to eat people here. Musen also noticed the situation here, but since Yunqiu always used a knife to chop ghosts, Musen thought that the members of the Demon Slayer core in this area were stronger, so he sent a lot of ghosts here, but all of them died, so he simply gave up this place. Chapter 6. Immortality is indeed good, but there are many disadvantages over time. Even though Yunqiu rarely goes out, there are still rumors that the owner of Beiwa House seems to be immortal and never needs to eat. Yunqiu is really speechless. Why are there such gossipy people in every era? I just stay at home a little bit. I usually go out to eat. And sometimes I am too lazy to go out. Yunqiu even hired 2 children to knock on the door at mealtime to help order food. They are exclusive Meituan riders. A monthly salary of 100,000 yen is good. However, I have lived in this area for a long time, and even have a lot of industries. They are all earned by saving a little bit from the money in the hands of the robbers and then investing. After more than 30 years, it is really time to move. Do it right away, organize the things you need, put the rest here, and let the people under Beiwa House help watch and clean occasionally. This place will develop sooner or later. Beiwa House has a good location. I will definitely come to live here in the future. Yunqiu calculated the time. It was only 23 years since Jiguo Yunyi was born. In these 23 years, Yunqiu traveled everywhere. When he ran out of money, he would go back to get it. He often helped some poor children, which was also a peace of mind for himself. Pub Future ads. The Demon Slayer Corps seemed to have developed to a certain scale. Occasionally, you can see those people. They are not proficient in swordsmanship, but they are all half-grown children. After living for a long time, everyone looks like a child. Even though Yunqiu now looks only 17 or 18 years old, he is actually a man in his 70s. Alas! Women really can't be asked about their real age. Recently, I just moved to a new house. Next door is Jiguo's family, a samurai family, and his wife is pregnant. Soon, Yunqiu established a good relationship with them. The transparent world can see clearly that there are two boys inside, which should be Jiguo Yunyi and Jiguo Yansheng. Yunqiu was afraid that they would find out, so he transformed his body into a child of about 7 years old and found a housekeeper to take care of him at any time. Akeno, the mother of the two brothers, felt sorry for the child who lost his parents, so she was particularly concerned about Yunqiu. Soon the day of delivery arrived. Yunqiu wanted to witness the birth of this future boss who would scare Muzan, so she stayed outside the door and waited. Jiguozu was a male chauvinist and thought that childbirth was an unlucky thing to see blood, so he avoided it. Hearing the screams inside, Yunqiu was terrified. Although she had suffered a lot of injuries, she was inexplicably panicked when she heard the word giving birth. The crying of the child came, and the servants came out holding the child. Yunqiu leaned over to take a look. The newborns looked exactly the same and could not be distinguished, but one had a red mark on the forehead. This should be Yunyi. He poked his face, and then went to see Jiguo Yansheng, who was also a milky dumpling. But when Lord Jigoku saw the stripes on Yuichi Shugakoku's head, he wanted to kill this ominous child. Yunqiu knew that Akeno would stop him, so he stood by and watched. Soon Lord Jigoku gave an order to lock up Yuichi Shugakoku and send him to a temple after he turned 10. Yunqiu actually didn't want to change too much of the plot. They have their own storyline. Yunqiu just wanted to change the things that she felt sorry for. For example, the Butterfly Sisters, Akaza and Koyayaki, Jihutaru and Mei. Time passed little by little. Similar to the original plot, Yuichi discovered Akeno's illness and often supported her. Yunqiu actually asked Akeno if she wanted to cure her illness and live longer. But Akeno didn't seem to want to. She was willing to obey the arrangement of fate. Yunqiu has been in Demon Slayer for so long, and has never assimilated anyone, because she feels that there is no need to let this world inexplicably have another ghoul who eats people. Yunqiu is already immortal, and the ghouls assimilated with his blood also have a longer lifespan, not much different from the demons created by Muzan. It's just that ghouls are not afraid of sunlight and have Kakuha, while demons are afraid of sunlight and can awaken blood demon arts. Chapter 7. Akeno thought that Yuichi couldn't hear, so she sewed the sun earrings, which made Muzan tremble when he saw them. Yunqiu immediately pestered Akeno to teach her. Akeno's health was not very good, and making a pair was already hurtful enough. She learned it herself and made it in batches. Then I want to wear 3 in one ear. Earrings are very complicated to make, and Akeno also took a long time to learn. Knowing that Yunqiu is impatient, she just asked her to wait for her to make them. Over the years, Yunqiu has been like a daughter, noisy but caring, very different from the two silent sons. Akeno likes Yunqiu very much. Although Jiguo Yuichi can see that Yunqiu is different, her body structure is different from that of humans, and there are 6 abnormally active mark points. But Yunqiu is very good to her family, and Jiguo Yuichi has no concept of ghosts, so he just thinks she is different. Every time Yunqiu eats someone, she dare not come for at least 3 days, because she is afraid that Jiguo Yuichi will see the activity of her body cells. When I went to Jiguo's home again, the two brothers were practicing swords. Jiguo Yanzheng had been learning since he was young and worked very hard to become the most powerful swordsman. But Jiguo Yunqiu only watched once and learned how to start and how to attack, and even defeated experienced warriors. Pub Future ads. The treatment of the two brothers changed drastically, and Jiguo Yanzheng, who was only 7 years old, could not accept it at all. The gap between talent and hard work was so huge, and he had obviously worked very hard. Yunqiu looked at Yanzheng, who was squatting in the corner and crying quietly, and felt very strange. How to say it, the big brother I thought was still a little kid now, one pretended to be dumb and didn't speak, and the other cried because of the gap. It's really, contrast cute. Yanzheng, don't cry, I'll take you to play, okay? Yunqiu, who had never coaxed a child, could only use some old-fashioned words to coax the child, but it was obvious, it didn't work. Jiguo Yanzheng cried even harder. It was nighttime now, and it was pitch black outside. No one would notice if he went out, right? Yunqiu walked over and hugged Jiguo Yanzheng, who was not even as tall as his shoulders, in his arms. Then he spread his wings and flew into the air. Jiguo Yanzheng was startled by the sudden flight, and the knife in his hand fell to the ground. His nervous hands tightly grasped Yunqiu's clothes. Perhaps because he was too shocked, Jiguo Yanzheng stopped crying. Ah! What's going on? Why can you fly? Put me down. He hadn't flown out of the city-state yet. If he kept shouting like this, he would be discovered sooner or later. If you keep shouting, I'll let go. Sure enough, after hearing this, Jiguo Yanzheng covered his mouth with both hands, his eyes wide open, and he looked dazed, which made Yunqiu blush. There was a very high mountain on this side. Every morning, the sun would shine from the other side of the mountain. Yunqiu planned to take him to see the sunrise, so that he wouldn't be trapped in that yard to practice sword every day. What's the point of practicing? You can't beat Jiguo Yuichi, and you can't eat it. Life is short, so enjoy it while you can. Sister Yunqiu, where are we going? On the mountain, I'll take you to see the world. Jiguo Yanzheng didn't intend to call Yunqiu sister, but her mother clearly corrected her, and Yunqiu was very strong, so she beat Yanzheng several times secretly, and finally he obeyed. Sure enough, the bigger the fist, the better. The two were waiting and talking on the mountain. Jiguo's family at the foot of the mountain was in chaos. Akeno heard Yunzhen's cry and came out to see only the wooden sword dropped on the ground. Anxiously asked the servants to find it, but they didn't find it. Tsugakoku Yoriichi hesitated for a moment. Actually, Yoriichi had just seen the two of them in the air and knew that Yunqiu was special, so he secretly concealed some details and told his mother, brother, and sister Yunqiu are out, there's no problem. Azuno confirmed several times, and then went to the next door to ask. The housekeeper was quick to respond and said that Miss Yunqiu took Yanzheng to the mountain to catch fireflies and sent samurai to follow them, so there would be no problem. Azuno was relieved. Chapter 8. Yanzheng, why are you crying? Jiguo Yanzheng lowered his head, not daring to look into Yunqiu's eyes. Being jealous of him or something, such a mentality is too dark, and Yanzheng didn't want to tell Yunqiu. Yunqiu knew the story between the two brothers. Jiguo Yanzheng spent his whole life chasing the sun, forgetting himself and the brilliance of the moon. Perhaps, the two brothers were not good at expressing themselves, so they went wrong step by step. Perhaps it was their father's fault that led to the current ending of the two brothers. In any case, Yunqiu felt that he had to change something. Does Yanzheng think I'm pretty? Yunqiu's nonsensical question made Yanzheng not quite understand, but he answered honestly, pretty. There may be people who are prettier than me, but the only one who thinks I'm the prettiest is me. Yanzheng looked at her confident and arrogant look, and actually wanted to tell her that he also thought she was the prettiest, but he was not good at expressing himself, so he just watched quietly. Even if you are not as talented as Yuichi, you are unique in my heart. Yuichi is the sun, you are the moon, you are both unique, and the moon also has its own brilliance. Yanzheng knew what Yunqiu meant, but he couldn't help feeling sad. Compared to the sun, the moon is nothing. Yo! This kid is quite tangled. The sun can't be looked at directly, because its light will burn others, but the moon can. The moon is very gentle, just like you. Yunqiu was actually right. We can only see their miniatures in the anime, and we found out after getting along that what we see is not necessarily all. Yuichi's gentleness is hidden in the subtleties, and he won't say it out, so we have to discover it ourselves. Yunshen's gentleness is hidden in his eyes. Whether it is to his relatives or Yunqiu, Yanzheng always looks at them with gentle eyes and follows them with his eyes. It's just that in order to meet his father's expectations, Yanzheng constantly squeezes himself, constantly demands himself, and gradually becomes numb to the people around him and becomes formulaic. Yansheng finally couldn't hold back anymore, tears couldn't stop falling, and he hugged Yunqiu's arm tightly. Why? My father is always dissatisfied with me, I've been trying. What I tried so hard to keep, Yunyi can get easily, this is unfair. I hate him. My mother likes him, my father values him, even the teacher has been praising him, I have nothing. Yansheng was surprisingly fragile and sensitive when he was a child. Yunqiu took out his mobile phone and secretly took a close-up of Yansheng's 9-square diagram. This will be his black history from now on. Yunqiu patted his back to comfort him. Yi likes you very much, you have to believe this, he keeps the flute you gave him well. Really? Would I lie to a child? Yansheng looked at Yunqiu suspiciously, nodded, but shook his head under Yunqiu's death smile. Maybe because he cried for a long time, Yansheng fell asleep directly. Yunqiu put a piece of clothing on him and started taking pictures of him. When he grows up, she will definitely show him how cute he was when he was a child. Yunqiu was like a weird sister. She took pictures with her phone and then started to Photoshop them with an evil smile. Yunqiu has an album in her phone, which is specially created for the two brothers to record their daily lives. It is called the Big Brother's Diary. The next day, the sun gradually rose, rendering the sky red. Yunqiu woke Yanzheng up. Seeing the sunrise, Yanzheng was obviously very excited. Yunqiu pointed to the sky and looked up. There was still a moon hanging. The light was weak, but it did not lose its light because of the sun. Chapter 9. Akeno's health is getting worse and worse. Yunqiu looks at her weak body and can't help but sigh at the fragility of life. Yunqiu likes Akeno very much. Although this person is much younger than herself, she is a very gentle and powerful person. For so many years, Yunqiu has avoided having strong emotions with humans because humans have a short lifespan and her own lifespan is very long. The sadness of loss, again and again, is a torture to the spirit. Without extreme joy, there will be no grief. Akeno, do you want to live? Say yes. You want to live. Akeno, for your child, choose to become a ghoul. Stay with me, okay? Akeno shook her head and gently stroked Yunqiu's cheek. Life is gorgeous because it is short. Pub Future ads. Maybe this is my fate. Yunqiu, don't be too sad. Yanzheng and Yunyi will accompany you. Juno knew that Yunqiu had no sense of security and treated her as a friend, so every time she called her, she used her name instead of honorifics. Why? Isn't it good to be alive? Why don't sick people want to live? Akeno's breathing gradually weakened, and the three people sat around her, their eyes full of sadness. After his mother left, Yunyi began to pack his luggage and planned to leave this place. Yunyi knew that his brother wanted to be a swordsman and become a very powerful person. With him around, his father would never see his brother's efforts. So leaving is the best choice. Yunqiu knew that he was going to leave, and stood on the road he had to pass and waited. Looking at him, Yunqiu didn't know what to say. Could it be that he was asked not to kill himself in the future? It's too weird. All the words came to Yunqiu's mouth, and Yunqiu just said, Yuichi, be careful. Yuichi nodded, gave Yunqiu a hug, and left her sight. Yunqiu returned home and saw Yanzheng sitting on the doorstep, holding the letter left by Yuichi. What's wrong? Sitting here. Yanzheng didn't know how to describe his emotions. His relationship with Yuichi has improved a lot in the past 2 years, and Yanzheng has accepted his decision to send him to the temple. But what he didn't expect was that Yuichi left early, leaving a letter and leaving without saying goodbye to anyone. It's obviously me who should leave, Yuichi. Yuichi is an insensitive child, and Yanzheng is a highly sensitive child. This is the conclusion Yunqiu came to. Yanzheng has always used a tough and powerful appearance to decorate his heart. Over time, he has forgotten what he wants and what he is like. This is his choice. The successor state leader searched for a long time and didn't find anyone, but Yunqiu knew where Yuichi was. Since Yoriichi left, Iwakatsu has become meticulous and perfect in his work, but he still cannot meet his father's expectations. Perhaps this is the root of human inferiority. With such an excellent child as Iwakatsu, they fantasize that if Yoriichi is here, he will be even better. Iwakatsu gradually grew up, and Jigoku began to arrange a marriage for him, but he was rejected. Logically, Tokaido Muchiro is his descendant. Could it be that fate has not yet arrived? Yunqiu was just confused for a moment, and did not think much about it, and continued to live a carefree life. Until Jigoku brought people to Yunqiu to propose marriage. Yunqiu realized that Jigoku Iwakatsu had not married because he liked her. What should I do? Directly change a big plot. Mist pillar. Gone. Jigoku Iwakatsu is indeed very handsome, looks in her own aesthetic point, and is also very gentle. But let Yunqiu turn him into a ghoul. Yunqiu doesn't know if he will accept it. Originally, Yanzheng would definitely choose to become a demon in pursuit of power, but now that he no longer has that obsession, Yunqiu doesn't want him to become a man-eating ghoul. Chapter 10. Yunqiu asked the housekeeper to delay first, saying that as the only heir of Beiwa House, he needed to consider marriage carefully. Beiwa House has developed rapidly in recent years. Its main industry is responsible for food, clothing, housing, and transportation, which are the necessities of life. Now, with the efforts of its subordinates, it has become a big family. The successor to the country can accept this reason. After all, the child has no relatives, so it is normal to be cautious. After Yunqiu fooled the successor to the country, he went to find Yansheng and wanted to have a good talk with him. The two sat on the top of the mountain. The former child was much taller than Yunqiu and looked at him softly. Yansheng, why do you want to marry me? Those girls are much better than me. Yunqiu was telling the truth. After all, Yunqiu couldn't play the piano or embroider. At most, she could hold a knife and gesture with Yansheng. Because I like you, you are very special to me. Ah? That's it? Yunqiu wanted to hear some love words, but she didn't expect this guy to only say this. Pub Future ads. Love doesn't last forever. I'm going to leave for a while. If I come back and you still like me, we'll get married. Yansheng didn't ask the reason, but just agreed to her words and waited for Yunqiu to come back. Yunqiu now has other things to do, that is to save Yuichi Tsugakoku's wife, Yuda. After leaving, Yunqiu went to the place in her memory. She secretly went to see Yuichi, but rarely went there after being discovered by Yuichi. Yunqiu has lived too long and doesn't have a strong sense of time, so Yunqiu is late. Before she got close, Yunqiu smelled the smell of blood in the air, very fresh and very light. Damn it! I'm such a pighead. Could it be that I'm late? Yunqiu controlled Yuhi to speed up, rushed forward like lightning, and directly smashed the door of the house. After entering, I saw an ugly ghost lying on Yuta, biting Song's arm, and there was a big hole in his chest. Song was in so much pain that she couldn't move. Her amniotic fluid broke, and the baby hadn't been born yet. If she waited too long, the baby would suffocate. He waved his scaled keiku and directly beat the ghost into blood and absorbed it. But Song had stopped breathing. If she wanted to save her life, she could only turn her into a ghoul, and her body was too damaged, so she didn't know if she could bear it. Suddenly, she felt her stomach move slightly, and the baby was still alive. Yunqiu didn't know how to give birth at all, but now she could only have a caesarean section to take the baby. Yunqiu took Yuhi's keiku, turned it into a sharp blade, and with the blessing of the transparent world, she cut Song's skin layer by layer. I wasn't so nervous when I ate people for the first time, but now Yunqiu was helping to deliver a baby, and her hands were shaking. As the last layer of diaphragm was cut open, the child's body was exposed. Since Ji was already dead, Yunqiu's incision was very large, and the child was easily taken out. Yuichi heard the crying coming from the house, thinking that Ji had finished giving birth, and approached with worry and expectation, but saw that the room was full of blood. His wife was lying on the ground covered in blood. Yunqiu held a red blade in one hand and the child in the other hand, and was dirty because of the blood. The midwife had been scared away long ago, and Yunqiu rushed in and hugged Ji, his eyes full of disbelief. Why? Why? Yunqiu had never seen Yunqiu have such strong emotions, and the sadness overflowed, making Yunqiu feel suffocated. Yuichi, calm down. I have a way. The originally dark eyes glowed again. Yunqiu knew that what he said next might push himself to the edge of the knife, but he still wanted to do his best to make up for the tragic life of Jiguo Yunqiu. Chapter 11. I can bring Yuta back to life and give her a long life, but she will become a man-eating monster, and humans are the only food she can eat. The decision is yours, save her or not. Yunqiu's words extinguished the hope that had risen in Yunyi again. Yuta would not be willing to live like this, it was a blasphemy against life. Yunyi was unwilling to accept Yuta's death, but he did not want her to become that kind of monster, so he finally refused Yunqiu's help. The child kept crying, and the two of them could not take care of him. Yunyi did not want to leave Yuta alone here, so he asked Yunqiu to take the child away first, and he would find her later. Yunyi had a keen intuition. When Yunqiu proposed that method, he knew that Yunqiu actually knew something, and even ate people. With such a child, Yunqiu could only find a wet nurse to raise him first. The boy was strong and had no sequelae of dystocia. But for some reason, more than half a year had passed, and Yunqiu did not wait for Jiguo Yunyi to come to him. This shouldn't be. It's near their house. You can't even find it. When did you become so lame? Taking care of children is the most annoying thing. Yunqiu couldn't stand it anymore and took the child to the mountain, only to see a grave and an empty house. Don't take care of this. Am I your babysitter? Yunqiu. Don't you want your son? Helplessly, Yunqiu could only run around with the baby. When she heard that the demon slayer core appeared somewhere, she would rush over immediately to see if she could find Yunqiu. After running in vain 4 or 5 times, Yunqiu suddenly realized. Why bring the child with you? Wouldn't it be better to just leave it to Yanzheng? As a result, on the way back, an accident happened. Yunqiu met Muzan. And the most speechless thing is, Muzan has set his eyes on him, as if his taste is more fragrant. Damn, before eating Kaneki Ken, I thought he was fragrant, but now it's different. Became the prey. It's not that he can't beat Muzan. With the hedge form plus the high-tech Kukan, and the immortality bonus, he can wear Muzan out. But the problem is, he has a child. Muzan took the lead and wanted to cut off Yunqiu's neck directly, but was blocked by the hedge. After a short fight, Muzan realized that Yunqiu was different. He has strange abilities, very similar to a ghost, but not a ghost. Could it be that the damn doctor also saved others? How could this be? There can only be one such advanced creature. Various thoughts flashed through Musen's mind, and he directly turned on the combat form. Yunqiu could only wrap the baby with a scale hedge and hold it close to his waist. Tianfa also used the sword form. After all, he has been practicing swords for many years, and he can still go 3 moves with Yunyi. The two fought, and the surrounding trees were directly blown into sawdust, and the battlefield was constantly shifting. With the two of them as the center, the area has become a large ruin, and Yunqiu is a little overwhelmed. The blood and demon arts of the demons are ever-changing, and Musen, as the demon king, has countless methods. Ghouls have only so many methods, and they mainly rely on Kagun and combat experience. Yunqiu has fought with it and Furuta Naifuku, and they all won by a narrow margin, relying on the high concentration of RC cells stored in their bodies and physical skills. Musen is like a mage, and Yunqiu is a warrior. The two of them pushed the battlefield tirelessly. Seeing that the sky is about to dawn, isn't Musen afraid of the sun? Yunqiu is not in a hurry, just wasting time with him, and the concentration of RC cells also dropped quickly. Musen is anxious. Yunqiu took advantage of his panic and directly transformed into a Kagun, turning into a 7-meter-tall humanoid monster, and started to bite Musen. I have to say, the Ghost King is a great tonic. Just eating one of his hands is equivalent to eating hundreds of people. Chapter 12. Musen didn't want to die, so he cut his body into 8 pieces and started to run away. Yunqiu hurriedly grabbed 5 of the pieces and stuffed them into his mouth. The taste was a little worse than Kaneki's, but it was still pretty good. The RC concentration was really high. After eating, the RC cells were stored in case of emergency. Many people on the ground were also affected and died. Yunqiu had been hungry before, and he always picked up the leftovers of others. He hadn't eaten enough during this period, so he simply wrapped himself with his Kagun and began to devour these corpses. After cleaning up most of the battlefield, Yunqiu let go of the living people, and even avoided them, only picking up the dead bodies. He was going to continue moving forward, but suddenly felt a strong killing intent. Before he could react, Yunqiu saw his body. It turned out that his head was chopped off. Yunqiu could only quickly use his scale Kagun to pick up his head, and then wrap himself with his feather Kagun to prevent another sneak attack. After seeing who was doing it, Yunqiu almost cursed her father. I worked so hard to help you take care of your children, and you came up and killed me with a sword. So you were just playing me when you fought me back and forth before. The one who did it was Yunyi, who was standing not far away holding the sun wheel sword and looking at Yunqiu, with mixed emotions in his eyes. I thought you were different. What? What was he talking about? Yunyi approached step by step. Yunqiu twisted her neck to make sure she was not pretending, then stood up and looked at him, and then she heard. What do you think of life? No. Didn't he say this to Musen? Why did he say it to me now? Seeing him pick up the sun wheel sword and was about to chop at her, Yunqiu could only block it quickly, and all 8 scales were cut off. After rolling with the force, she dodged this move. There was a burning pain from the incision, and the recovery was much slower, which should be caused by the sun breathing. Yunqiu probably knew what Yunyi understood. He just thought that he killed the people here for the sake of eating people, and he was eating openly. Musen wanted to kill me, and we fought. He kept forcing me to the village, and I couldn't do anything. Yunqiu was not a mouthless person. He immediately put the blame on Musen, who made him target him and pester him. In fact, Yunqiu had Yuhi, and he could run away if he wanted to. He just wanted to test Musen's strength. Now the sun is out, and Musen has slipped away, leaving me here to be caught by Yunyi. Yunyi stopped and stood there. The two looked at each other. You go. Hearing these 3 words, Yunqiu breathed a sigh of relief. After all, Yunyi is the ceiling of the world's combat power. If they really fight, he will definitely lose. Did you forget something? Yunqiu's sudden words made Yunyi short-circuited. What did you forget? This guy looked confused. Didn't he forget his child? Yunqiu let go of Weha and took out the sleeping little guy. You don't want your son anymore? I don't want to take care of the child. Yuichi thought Yunqiu had sent the child to the successor country a long time ago. He joined the Demon Slayer Corps, and it was too dangerous to take the child with him. He thought about going home to see him once in a while, but he didn't expect Yunqiu to still take him with him. Give it to me. The child's soft body is not easy to hold. It is obvious that Yuichi doesn't understand at all, and he is in a panic now. After getting rid of this little trouble, Yunqiu prepared to go back to find Yanzheng. After being out for more than half a year, he didn't do much, but Yunqiu thought a lot more clearly. Why do you have to think about the future? Isn't it better to grasp the present? Chapter 13. Fortunately, Yunqiu had given the child to Yunyi a long time ago. Now he was alone, so he found a place to recuperate before going back. Yunyi should be able to take good care of the child, right? Muzan couldn't fly, so he could only watch Yunqiu fly higher and higher. Finally, the sun appeared, and he hid with gritted teeth. Yunqiu went around several mountains, and finally dug a cave in a mountain, then ate all of Muzan's meat before, and fell into a deep sleep. His biggest shortcoming was that he didn't know blood demon arts, and he didn't know the principles of blood demon arts. Relying on the power of devouring, he must have a better blood demon art, and then ravage Muzan. Judging from the guy's breath, he must have eaten a lot of people to recover in more than 10 days, or even stronger. His own horn bag was damaged, and he was tired after fighting for so long, so he wrapped it with 2 or 3 layers of tail horn and feather horn, and then he fell asleep with peace of mind. Time flew fast outside. Spring, summer, autumn and winter came again and again, but Yunqiu still showed no signs of waking up. Ding! Wang BA System After Sales Service is online. It is detected that the previous host fell into a deep sleep due to the bug of assimilation and devouring. Now we start to optimize and compensate. The voice of the system seemed to reach the soul. Yunqiu opened his eyes and saw a dark place, so dark that he couldn't even see his own hands clearly. What's going on? When did your system become so bad? There is also a problem with the reward. Yunqiu immediately started to complain when he heard the words of the system after sales service. Previous host, don't be angry. We are now calculating the best solution. The best solution is that you give me a better cheat. Yunqiu climbed up the pole directly. What bug? Tell me. Since the assimilation uses your blood, it will assimilate people into ghouls. But ghouls can't use blood demon arts, but swallowing can make you have the blood demon arts of Muzan Kibuki, so ghouls created by blood should also have blood demon arts. The two are contradictory, causing the host to fall asleep. This explanation is a little weird. I haven't created a ghoul myself, and you put me to sleep because of this crappy reason? It's funny. Yunqiu can only urge the system to solve the problem quickly, and he is still in a hurry to go back. Our after-sales service is absolutely reliable. Such incidents will not happen again. At the same time, we have upgraded your rewards. From now on, the assimilated ghouls can possess blood demon arts and can eat humans and demons as food. The system reward space is also expanded to 100 cubic meters as compensation. This compensation is really good. Yunqiu didn't bother with it and immediately asked the system to send Yunqiu back. Former host, goodbye. Fast. I'm still waiting to take Muzan back to bask in the sun. The system threw Yunqiu out without saying a word. The moment he woke up, Yunqiu had only one feeling, that is, hunger. This kind of hunger is like not having eaten for hundreds of years. No. No. If it's any later, I'm afraid I'll starve to death. Yunqiu ran out of the cave quickly, smelling the smell in the air, which was faintly the smell of ghosts and human blood. With the rapid flow of the horn, Yunqiu directly broke into an abandoned temple, where 6 ghosts were gathered together. There were also 4 or 5 cages with some people imprisoned inside, who looked mentally unwell. Some were wearing police uniforms. Yunqiu's sudden intrusion startled the 6 ghosts, and before the ghosts could speak, Yunqiu directly wrapped them up with the horn. But in an instant, they were devoured, and their stomachs were not so hungry anymore. Chapter 14. The servants were so scared that they sat on the ground with their mouths wide open, and the people in the cages began to scream. "Am I ugly?" Yunqiu asked the servants with an unhappy face, and when they didn't say anything, he stretched out his scales to scare them. "You are very beautiful, the most beautiful person I have ever seen." One of them immediately knelt down and lowered his head, not daring to look. "Then why are you so scared? You are not afraid of these 6 ghosts that eat people, why are you afraid of me?" The rest of them trembled and dared not speak, just kept asking for mercy. Yunqiu kicked one of them. "You, tell me what's going on." The man was obviously shaking more violently, and his words were trembling. "Reply to the adults. We all just followed orders and sent the death row prisoners here to be eaten by those monsters. The rest don't know." "Death row prisoners? Seeing that they are wearing official clothes, they should be government people, so the government and ghosts are in collusion? When did the ghosts become so rampant? Did he not care about Yunqiu? What era is it now? It's Edo. What? It's over. Iwakatsuo and Yunqiu. Could they have died of old age? Damn bug, damn Musen." Yunqiu hurriedly asked a few more questions, and after learning that these people were all death row prisoners, he devoured them all to fill his stomach. Yunqiu did not let these servants go either, because they were not good people anyway. If they were really good people, they could only say that they were unlucky and met him. Yunqiu hurried to the Jiguo family, and finally found that the family did not exist. It seemed to be dispersed. But the house next to the Jiguo family was still there. After knocking on the door, a child of about 10 years old walked out. "Disha, excuse me, what can I do for you?" Seeing such a child, Yunqiu was also stunned for a second. "This house is mine, is the housekeeper here?" Disha was startled and immediately bent down and bowed. "I am the housekeeper here, Disha, I just took office 3 months ago." "You are such a little kid? When did Beiwa House start to use child labor?" When Disha heard her say this, she thought she was dissatisfied with herself, and looked at Yunqiu a little helplessly, and her eyes turned red. "Hey! Don't cry, I just said it casually. Come in first, I have something to ask you." Yunqiu pushed the door and went in while talking. Seeing that the small sofa she liked was still there, she sat on it immediately. "Disha, do you know what happened in the country after the country? When did they leave here?" Although Disha had just taken office, she knew a lot about this matter, and the previous housekeeper also talked about a lot of related matters. Since Yunqiu had a good relationship with the heir of Jiguo in the past, she paid special attention to their family affairs. It seems that there was a conflict between the 2 heirs, and finally one of them was expelled from the family, and they broke up not long after that. And even the adopted son of the heir was expelled. "I'll go find information for the adults. The previous housekeeper has records." Disha ran into the room after saying that. The sound of rummaging through boxes came. 3 or 4 minutes later, she came out with a letter. Opening it, the content inside was brief, but it recorded all the important notes. Jiguo Yanzheng has always refused to marry, and Jiguo Yunyi has been unable to find any trace, so Jiguo chose to remarry. Not long after, Jiguo Yanzheng adopted a child about half a year old, with red hair and red eyes, suspected to be his own. Judging from the time, this child should be Yunyi's child, but for some reason he was given to Yanzheng to raise. When the child was about 1 year old, Jiguo Yanzheng disappeared. 5 years later, the lineage of the successor state, Yanzheng, was expelled from the successor state, and his adopted son was also stripped of his name. Chapter 15. After reading it, Yunqiu felt mixed emotions. Could it be that, like the original plot, Yan Sheng became Kokushibo? I don't want to think about it anymore. It's good that he became Kokushibo. We'll have a chance to meet in the future. It's a pity for Yunyi. I didn't expect that the last time we met would be our last farewell. The most important thing is, I haven't learned the breathing of the sun yet. Touching the sun earrings on his earlobes, Yunqiu began to think about what to do next. I don't know when it will be, so let's wait and see. What's going on with Bei Wahoo? This is my source of income. Whether I'm rich or poor depends on the income of Bei Wahoo. When asked about this, Disha hesitated. Yunqiu looked at her and realized that she didn't know, but didn't dare to say it. Pub Future ads. I am the boss. The entire Beiwa house must listen to me. If you don't tell me, I will ask others. Disha was anxious. She grabbed Yunqiu's hand and shook her head. Don't go. They are all bad people. Children are easy to fool. Yunqiu sat back lazily again. Tell me, what happened? Yunqiu also had some business philosophy. He sorted out the industrial management and development of Beiwa House at one time and gave it to the family that followed him at the beginning, the Bei family. Over the years, the head family has been getting worse and worse to the people below, but everyone sells themselves to Beiwa House, so they can only tolerate it. And the management style of Beiwa House is not as good as other industries. Now it is squeezed by other families and there are not many shops left. My mother is a manager of Beiwa House. She has a serious illness and was kicked out some time ago. The family can only rely on me to look after the house and have some income. Yunqiu became more and more angry as he listened. He had a big family and business at the beginning, but they just bullied him like this? Don't want to die. You are causing trouble. Take me to see your mother. I'll find a doctor to help her, and then we'll go to Tokyo. Disha's eyes lit up immediately, and she happily led the way. Finally, they arrived at a very small courtyard, where coughing could be heard from time to time. After entering, I saw Hiwaza curled up in the quilt, coughing uncontrollably, and it sounded like she was blocking the smoke machine. Disha immediately ran over to pour water for her mother and helped her sit up. Hiwaza was very weak, her face was pale, her eyes were sunken, and her body had been in a very bad state for a long time. Yunqiu sat cross-legged and used the transparent world to check her body. Her lungs were hardened and infected, and she couldn't be saved. Boss Bei Wahoo, I haven't been to Bei Wahoo for a long time. So everyone thought. At that time, Yunqiu founded Bei Wahoo, and there was only one person. Later, he changed his identity and went there, and it was also a single-line inheritance. I guess those people thought that the bloodline had been cut off long ago, otherwise how could they be so arrogant and take Yunqiu's property for themselves? Yunqiu took out the badge from his pocket. This is the source of the Beiwa House logo, a colorful cloud surrounded by flowers. Badges can be forged, but no one does it. After all, Bei and his family hope that no one will inherit it. And not many people know about the badge. Many people think that the Bei family is the owner of Beiwa House. This identity badge, I guess not many people know it, but I won't give it to them just like that. After saying something, Hiwaza coughed more severely, and Disha could only ask her mother to drink more water to relieve it. Looking at her sensible daughter, Hiwaza really didn't want to die. She wanted to watch her grow up, get married, have children, and find someone to rely on. Can Disha go out first? Your mother and I have something to say. Disha nodded, then left the room, closed the door, and stood guard outside. Chapter 16. What do you want to ask, sir? Yunqiu did have something to ask. How much do you know about the Jigoku family? Disha was just a child, she didn't know much, and there was not much written in the records. Yunqiu wanted to know more accurate things. Hiwaza did know some folk rumors. There are folk rumors that someone in the Jigoku family became a swordsman, walking the world to kill evil spirits that eat people. But there are also rumors that someone in the family became a ghost, and the statements are different, and there is not much truth. The most authentic record is only written in the records in the house. It seems that it is similar to the original plot. Yuichi became a swordsman, and Iwakatsuya became Kokushibo. That's all I know. Hiwaza coughed continuously and even coughed up blood. Your health is not good. What will happen to Disha after you die? The question asked by Yunqiu was also the question that Hiwaza was most worried about. She was strong on the surface, but she shed tears at this time. Can the adults accept Disha? She is a great child, hardworking and capable. Yunqiu interrupted Hiwaza's entrustment. Do you want to live? Of course I don't want to. My child is still young, she can't live without a mother, but I don't have time. Hiwaza has a strong desire to survive, and Yunqiu feels that it is necessary to increase the number of ghouls and find some reliable and loyal subordinates because of the garbage behavior of the Bai family. There are monsters that eat people in this world, some are ghosts, specializing in eating people, and some are ghouls, which can eat people and ghosts, but they can't eat human food. I can make you a ghoul, but you have to be loyal to me, how about it? Hiwaza heard this and looked at Yunqiu in a daze, with disbelief on her face. I don't want to eat people. Is there no other way? No, you think about it. Disha can't live without her mother, right? Yunqiu looked at Hiwaza and gently wiped away her tears with his hands. Psychological tactics, Yunqiu's usual tactics, plus his newly learned blood ghost art, using sound as a medium to seduce and guide, Hiwaza will definitely agree. Sure enough, in less than a minute, Hiwaza decided to become a ghoul. She is now weak, and Yunqiu only gave her a small amount of blood, enough for her to transform into a ghoul, but it will not cause an explosion due to drastic changes in body cells. Disha didn't know what was being talked about inside, but when she saw her mother again, her mother looked much better, and she could even stand up and walk. After a period of reorganization, the three went to Tokyo, ready for a big reshuffle. Yunqiu sat in the carriage to rest. With the previous lesson, he didn't dare to relax too much. No Haneko covered Yunqiu with a small blanket. Like a keno, she was a very gentle person. Perhaps because she had just transformed into a ghoul, no Haneko was not able to control her Kagun and Kagun eyes very well, and her eyes would turn red from time to time. No Haneko's Kagun was scale Kagun, and the color was light blue, which was very different from Yunqiu's, and the aura was also different. Her blood demon art had not awakened, perhaps because it was too weak. Now no Haneko was at most a sea-level ghoul. These days, no Haneko ate people who robbed on the way, or ghosts who didn't have eyes on the way. From some resistance at the beginning to being able to actively hunt now, Yunqiu felt that there was an assimilation effect in it. It would make the assimilated people gradually accept their identity as ghouls and then get food. Chapter 17. At this time, the Bai family was holding a monthly meeting in the conference hall in the center of Beiwa House. The ban of other families is very bad for our business. Our income has dropped to the lowest point. Indeed, the Huiming family has already started to negotiate with me and wants to buy the entire Beiwa house. Brother, what do you think? The situation is very unfavorable now. We need to think about the way out. This Beiwa house is powerless to save the situation. Everyone was talking about their own ideas, and they didn't notice that there were two more people in the room. The discussion became more and more intense, and even started fighting. Yunqiu watched with relish. Seeing one of them being pushed and falling on his buttocks, Yunqiu smiled and started to applaud, and everyone was attracted to it. Who are you? We are in a meeting, get out. The man's face was distorted, his tone was fierce, and he even picked up the cup on the ground and threw it over. A red shadow flashed, and the cup was hit out by Zhiwazi. This kind of dirty thing can't meet adults, otherwise I will appear useless. Tisk tisk tisk, his temper is worse than mine, let's kill him. As soon as Yunqiu finished speaking, the man's head was cut off. Although Zhiwazi is gentle, she is also a ruthless person, otherwise how could she snatch a position from these people to Disha? Besides, these people are parasites, constantly exploiting those children, beating and scolding them at will, and not treating people as human beings at all. Seeing the blood, more than a dozen men shouted and huddled together, and some even peed in fear. Yunqiu frowned and walked away 2 steps. Who is the head of the family among you? A middle-aged man immediately knelt down and kowtowed to spare his life. Be quiet, I ask you questions and you answer them. Whoever supports exploiting children, stand up. Yunqiu asked the most fatal question right away. After pushing and shoving for a long time, no one dared to stand up, and they all blamed each other. Forget it, they are all scum. Zhiwazi, find a way to take over Beiwa House first, and you can deal with them as you like, just don't let them die too easily. The house smelled too bad, Yunqiu didn't want to stay any longer, and hurried back to take a shower. The current management method of Beiwa House was too backward. Yunqiu found some plans on the internet, and then spent money to ask some experts to come up with a latest management plan. Zhiwazi was very efficient, and he was familiar with the affairs because he was in the middle management before. He cleaned up the mess of the Bei family in 1 month. As for those people, they all became Zhiwazi's rations, and a lot of money was searched out of their homes. It should be the oil and water scraped from Beiwa House, which was used to fill the current loopholes, and there was still some left. The big change of Beiwa House made the outside world want to take the opportunity to get a piece of the pie, and constantly made trouble in the store. Zhiwazi fought back directly. Now the official has not stabilized yet and is not willing to deal with these minor fights. The thundering means quickly made others dare not move. After half a year, relying on the latest business philosophy, Beiwa gradually got on the right track. As the boss on the surface, Zhiwazi is responsible for various affairs, and is constantly cultivating new staff, and she must appease the children who are oppressed. She suddenly turned into a workaholic and awakened the blood ghost art of the clone. She is really a worker chosen by heaven. The boss Yunqiu was moved to tears. 3 years later, the reputation of Beiwa spread directly throughout Japan, and the industry gradually spread to some small towns. After Yunqiu had money, he also planned to go out and hang around. In the Edo period, many people became upper-rank demons, including Komeiji, also known as Akaza. Chapter 18. Although Yunqiu was an anime fan before traveling through time, he didn't know much about the story background of anime. For a big background like Demon Slayer, we only know the birth time and place of each demon roughly, and then we sigh at their pity. The intelligence network of Beiwa is powerful enough. After searching most areas, we finally locked on several martial arts halls. It took about half a month to collect information about martial arts halls. Among them, there was a daughter of the owner of a martial arts hall, named Lian Shuet, but she is only 3 years old now. It seems that it is still early. Iwakatsuo became Kokushibo. This is Yunqiu's mistake. If Komeiji becomes Akaza again, Yunqiu will definitely go and fight with Muzan. It seems that there has been no news about Kokushibo. He won't think he is dead, right? Let Hanako arrange the itinerary. Yunqiu plans to live there first and enter the martial arts hall to learn something. It is not good to have a long life. It is easy to get bored. Places with martial arts halls are better developed. Under such prosperity, there are still a lot of filth. Beiwa has some businesses here, which are some medical clinics and hotels. Yunqiu lived directly in the hotel without looking for another room. According to Zhiwazi's advice, everyone was very respectful to the 9-year-old girl. Yes, Yunqiu has become smaller again. After all, she will stay for a long time, and if she doesn't get old, it will arouse suspicion from others. After walking around the surrounding area, Yunqiu walked towards the martial arts hall. As soon as she approached, she heard the slogans inside. They should be practicing martial arts. Is the little girl lost? Yunqiu looked up and saw a man holding a child approaching, staring at her curiously. I want to join the dojo, can I? Wei? Why do you have such an idea? Sushin Qingzang was a little surprised and didn't understand why such a young child would want to join the dojo. I want to exercise and protect myself. There are no disciples in the dojo, but my wife is not in a good mood recently, and I have to take care of my daughter. My life is much busier than before. Sorry, our dojo does not accept disciples for the time being, but the dojo next door should accept you. Sushin Qingzang rejected Yunqiu, but still pointed Yunqiu in a direction. Yunqiu didn't want to go to the next door. After thinking for a while, he decided to take a step back. Then can I come over and take a look? You can come if you want. Getting affirmation, Yunqiu nodded, I will come over when I have time in the future. Sushin Qingzang wanted to say something, but Yunqiu turned around and left, leaving the father and daughter confused. Back at the Beiwahou Hotel, Yunqiu couldn't wait to pounce on the comfortable bed. Yunqiu didn't like sleeping on the floor, so he specially asked someone to make a bed with 6 layers of quilts, which was soft. Enjoy when you should enjoy. In the following 3 years, Yunqiu went to the martial arts gym from time to time, mainly to chat with Lian Shui and sometimes to watch Sushan Qingzang practice. Lian Shui was weak and needed to be taken care of, so she didn't have many friends. Every time Yunqiu showed up, Lian Shui would be happy for a long time. Maybe it was too tiring to take care of Lian Shui, or there was no hope in life. Lian Shui's mother drowned herself. Thinking that her mother didn't want to see her, Lian Shui felt very guilty and her condition worsened a lot. She could get out of bed and walk, but now she couldn't even get up. Yunqiu could only ask the people in the clinic to visit more often. In fact, he wanted to turn Lian Shui into a ghoul in his heart. Although it would be much better in the future, Lian Shui was poisoned and still couldn't survive. On the other side, Komeiji was caught and beaten for stealing medicinal materials and wallets. In recent years, his father has been sick, and Komeiji can only use this method to buy medicine for his father and prolong his father's life. When he returned home with medicine again, he saw his father lying in a pool of blood and lost his breath. Seeing his son doing shameful things, being beaten and scolded, and tattooed with a sinner's tattoo because of him, the always upright boy chose to understand himself. If he was not a burden, Komeiji should be able to live a better life, right? Chapter 19. Yunqiu had nothing to do, so he took some pastries to the Suliu dojo and came to Lian Shui's room skillfully. She was still listless and had difficulty breathing. Lian Shui, if you need me, tell me. Yunqiu had suggested before that Lian Shui become a ghoul, but Lian Shui did not have a strong desire, she just wanted to live, but she did not pursue living. In addition to Qingzang, Lian Shui did not want her father to know that she chose to become a man-eating ghoul in order to survive. So this matter was left unresolved, and Lian Shui did not mention it to her father. The two sat together quietly, with melodious music playing on their mobile phones, which was one of the things Lian Shui rarely liked. Qingzang spoke loudly, as if he was introducing something to someone, and then he saw him walking in with a boy who was beaten into a pig's head. Is it okay to hand over the house with only my daughter at home to me, a sinner? The boy's voice was hoarse, not slow, and he sounded without any emotional ups and downs. Qingzang smiled and replied, I just beat you up, you sinner, and I got rid of you. It's okay. Yunqiu waved his hand and told Liangxiu that he was leaving. In fact, he used blood demon art to hide quietly in the room. When he saw Liangxiu, Komeiji was stunned. Maybe it was because the coughing was very similar to his father, or maybe it was because Liangxiu's fragile and haggard appearance made people feel distressed. In short, Komeiji was stunned. Such a meaningful scene, Yunqiu must take a picture and record it. This is my daughter Liangxiu. You will be responsible for taking care of her in the future. When you have nothing to do, learn the skills of hand-to-hand combat with me. Sometimes there will be a child coming over. I will introduce you to them when the time comes. Qingzang quickly arranged work for Komeiji, and Komeiji performed very well. He had taken care of the patient's father before, so he was much more patient than others, and he was also careful and considerate in doing things. However, every time Liangxiu cried, he was a little at a loss. Komeiji stared at Liangxiu in a daze again, and Yunqiu started to tease him casually, "Liangxiu is beautiful, right?" Realizing his own gaffe, Komeiji closed his eyes and continued to punch without answering Yunqiu's question. After all, this strange sister always said strange things, and sometimes pointed small cubes at him. The most frustrating thing was that she always said that she envied her thick eyelashes and wanted to secretly cut them off and put them on her eyes. Komeiji couldn't sleep that night because of this sentence. "I know you like her, I'll tell her now." Yunqiu stood up and was about to walk towards Liangxiu, and Komeiji was so scared that he blocked Yunqiu directly. "Don't tell her." He was anxious. He was anxious. The 18-year-old Komeiji had grown very tall and could easily stop Yunqiu. With the muscles he had trained and the momentum, he still looked a little scary, of course, provided that he didn't blush. Every time Yunqiu mentioned something related to Liangxiu, Komeiji would listen carefully, and his eyes would be attracted by Liangxiu. In short, his heart was on his wife, and his whole soul was attracted by her. But Komeiji, who had a tattoo of a sinner, didn't dare to think too much, and kept restraining his feelings. The person in charge was confused, and Komeiji was too worried to see that Liangxiu also liked him, but Qingzang could understand the feelings of the two children. Komeiji was his only disciple, with high talent and good to Liangxiu. If he could inherit the dojo, he would be relieved. Chapter 20. Qingzang felt that it was time, and called Komeiji into the room. "Can you continue to be there, Komeiji? Besides, Rongxiu has reached the age to get married, and she likes you very much." Hearing his father's straightforward words, Rongxiu lowered her head shyly, her face already red. Komeiji's mind went blank in an instant, and he remembered what his father had said to him before. Maybe he could really start over? Some expectations began to swell uncontrollably, and he immediately promised to treat Rongxiu well for the rest of his life and protect her with his life. The next day, Yunqiu also came to visit with gifts, mainly to congratulate Rongxiu on being able to marry Komeiji. After 6 or 7 days, Komeiji asked to go back to visit his father and left the dojo with his luggage. Yunqiu knew that those people were going to poison him. Yunqiu also had his own ideas in his mind. Muzan had 12 demons, and he only had the mother and daughter of Hanako under his command, so he was at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. Komeiji and Rongxiu must become ghouls. Qingzang is a powerful warrior, and Yunqiu also wants to. So Yunqiu will not stop poisoning. This is an opportunity for him. The two who drank the water quickly became poisoned. Rongxiu kept coughing while holding her chest, her eyes full of tears. Qingzang also found something wrong, but his body could not move normally because of the spread of the poison. Yunqiu suppressed a trace of guilt in his heart and invited them to join him. Qingzang refused firmly. Life is precious, but there are things more important than life that he needs to stick to. Rongxiu is very entangled. Everything is getting better. Why did this happen? She wants to live and wants to accompany Komeiji. And the fireworks. They clearly agreed to watch the fireworks together later. Is he going to break his promise? Rongxiu really wants to agree, but if she agrees, will it disappoint her father? Or will Komeiji also think he is a monster? You save Lian Shuet, she is still young and has not seen this world yet. Qingzang said this weakly and closed his eyes to save his energy. Lian Shui could no longer hold on, spitting blood from her mouth, curled up on the ground. Yunqiu cut his palm and fed the blood into her mouth. He tore off a small piece from his own Yuhihibeo and buried it in her shoulder blade. This is Yunqiu's guess based on his own ideas. Using part of the Hibeo as a guide is more likely to obtain the same type of Hibeo. Yuhi consumes less, which can reduce the consumption of RC cells. It is agile and has low combat power, but it is good at escaping. The transformation process takes time. Lian Shui has fallen into a deep sleep. Yunqiu quietly left here, intending to observe the situation in the dark, and then sneak attack Muzan. I am very vengeful. The revenge for the previous sneak attack must be avenged. You wait for me. Since the system has fixed the bug, I now have a lot of blood demon arts, but I am not very proficient in them. The hidden blood demon arts also come in handy. Komeiji returned to the gym in a daze and saw the two lying on the ground with white cloth covering their faces. Tears could not stop flowing down. Lian Shui's fingers moved slightly, and it should be that she was about to regain consciousness, but Komeiji was overwhelmed by anger and stood up to go to the next gym to seek revenge. Yunqiu was worried about Lian Shui being here. After all, half of the ghouls who just woke up would have a big appetite. He rolled Lian Shui into the next room, which was already bloody at this time. The people lying on the ground had twisted bodies, and many of them had broken limbs. Yunqiu was amazed at this. As expected of the third brother, this fighting power is beyond words. Chapter 21. Lian Shui was a little dishonest. She drooled when she smelled the blood and wanted to rush down to have a good meal. Yunqiu had no choice but to make a box cage to trap Lian Shui in a room and cut off a man's arm for her. If she woke up and saw that she had eaten so many people, she would definitely not be able to accept it. Everything has a process, so take it slowly. It had been a while since Komeiji walked out of the gym. Yunqiu picked up the heavenly punishment and quickly followed the smell. Everyone on the street was hiding. Komeiji walked aimlessly. At the bridge, a man came towards him with a pale face. "Boss! You're finally here." Yunqiu clenched the knife in his hand and found an excellent attack position. As long as Muzan attacked Komeiji, he would just rush up and chop him. Seeing Komeiji covered in blood, Muzan began to talk to himself. "I heard that many people died here, and I thought that a ghost was out of control. I didn't expect that you, a human, could make such a commotion. I admire you very much." Pub Future ads. Now there are only 3 people in the 12 demon moons. You are not bad. Komeiji was in no mood to deal with this strange man, and told him to get out or he would leave his life. Muzan didn't say anything, but just stretched his hand forward. Yunqiu saw the opportunity, jumped up directly, and cut off Muzan's hand with the heavenly punishment. The pain from the wound made Muzan very angry. He was about to tear this ignorant man into pieces. The moment he raised his head, all the cells in his body began to tremble. The girl in front of him had red hair, wore the man's sun earrings, and held a long knife in her hand, which was very similar to the scene that day. Yunqiu had been preparing for a long time, so she has been red-haired and red-eyed all these years, just waiting for today. Seeing the fear in Muzan's eyes, Yunqiu curled his lips and said in the most arrogant tone, "What do you think of life? Muzan? Answer me." Muzan's pupils shrank suddenly, as if he had returned to the moment when he was dominated by Yunyi that day. He released the blood demon technique to attack Yunqiu at the fastest speed, and then ran away without looking back. Swinging the long sword, Yunqiu blocked all the attacks. Muzan had long disappeared, but Yunqiu was happy. Looking at the broken hand on the ground, he picked it up with Linhe and swallowed it. It was better than nothing. Muzan's flesh and blood were still very nutritious. After all, he was the Ghost King. Komeiji looked at Yunqiu in a daze, and after a moment, he looked at the ground with a gloomy look. Did this guy lose his light? It turns out that eyes can really turn black. Looking at his pitiful appearance, he looked like he had no home, nothing, and no meaning in life, as if his wife had gone offline and he had disconnected from the internet. Liangxiu is still waiting for you. Aren't you going back? Komeiji didn't look up, didn't even say a word, and stood there like a log. Hey! Give me some reaction. I saved your wife and you treat me like this. Komeiji looked up suddenly, looked at Yunqiu in disbelief, and then ran away like a fly. Dead love brain. Komeiji ran to the Surya dojo, where only King Zhang's body was left and Liangxiu was gone. With the joy of regaining what he had lost, Komeiji went to Liangxiu's room, but there was no one. Just when he was about to run to ask Yunqiu why he was playing such a joke, he heard crying from next door. It was Liangxiu's voice. Komeiji rushed in and saw Liangxiu with blood all over her face, crying among the corpses, and those corpses had bite marks on them. Like a taut string, Komeiji held her in his arms to make sure that Liangxiu was still alive, and then he couldn't help crying, and the two hugged each other tightly. Chapter 22. Yunqiu's cocoon cage was not made very strong, and it would dissipate by itself after a certain period of time. After coming out, Liangxiu was still very hungry. Although she was conscious, she couldn't help eating them. Only when her body's RC cells were replenished to a certain level did she suppress her appetite. Liangxiu looked around helplessly, feeling helpless. If Komeiji saw it, would he be scared? Tired of crying, Komeiji carried Liangxiu back to the Surya dojo. Seeing Yunqiu sitting inside, he was stunned for a moment, but still put the sleeping Liangxiu back to the room first. The stars in the sky were very bright, a rare good night view. Yunqiu just lay on the ground, waiting for Komeiji to come to find her. A cup of tea was pushed over, and Komeiji knelt not far away, solemnly bowing to Yunqiu to thank him. Don't be so serious. I've known you for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen you cry so freely. Komeiji twitched his lips, sighing in his heart that Yunqiu was still the same as always, and his words made people have a heart attack. Anyway, thank you very much for saving her. But, how did Liangxiu's eyes become like that? Is it a sequelae? Liangxiu is not very good at controlling herself, and she just ate a human, so her body cells are active. Komeiji noticed the red and black eyes at first sight. She can only feed on humans or ghosts now. It's normal for her body to change because she's a ghoul now, not a human. When Komeiji heard that Liangxiu was going to feed on humans, his heart jumped. What? Ghouls? It's similar to ghosts. Ghosts feed on humans and can't bask in the sun. Ghouls feed on them, but they're not afraid of the sun. But whether they're ghouls or ghosts, their lifespans are longer than humans. Yunqiu has an immortal body, and ghouls made with blood will benefit more or less. The length of lifespan is linked to strength. The person I drove away was the Ghost King Muzan. All ghosts were created by him, and there are many more ghosts than ghouls. There are only me and another mother and daughter among the ghouls. They were assimilated by me and are currently helping me manage my industry. Liangxiu is the third one. Disha actually discovered that her mother was wrong. After repeated questioning, she learned the truth and finally decided to become a ghoul and work for Yunqiu with her mother. After hearing these, Komeiji had a new understanding of these things that he once thought did not exist. Looking at Yunqiu lazily lying in the moonlight, Komeiji was confused. Turn me into a ghoul too. After saying this, Komeiji sat there waiting for Yunqiu's answer. Then you will be my subordinate in the future and help me with things. No problem. Although Liangxiu is alive now and has a healthy body and a long life, she is worried in her heart. She is Komeiji's light and the person he wants to protect. Time passes, and I am a human being and will die. In this case, Liangxiu will live alone. It is better to become a ghoul and live with her. Yunqiu stretched out his hand, and the armor grew rapidly from the shoulder, piercing Komeiji's chest and injecting a lot of blood. The feeling of suffocation followed, and the body began to spasm. Komeiji felt something growing in his waist, and his vision began to become dim, but he could see more clearly. The pain in his body made Komeiji gasp for air, and he felt hungry. If you're hungry, go to the next door. There's ready-made food anyway. Komeiji felt particularly bad, as if he was starving to death and felt dizzy. He became a ghoul on his own initiative, and he had already gotten over the mental barrier of eating people. Chapter 23. The next day, the servants came, and Yunqiu found someone from Beiwahu to cover up the matter, but he could not stay in the Suliu dojo for a short time. Yunqiu handed over the management of the dojo to others, and took Komeiji and Koyayaki to Asakusa. At present, Asakusa is considered a developed area, and the night economy has also been brought up by the marketing model of Beiwahu. When they arrived in Asakusa, Yunqiu made a space for the two to open a new Suliu dojo, so he didn't pay much attention to it. After being bored for a long time, Yunqiu began to wander around the street market. Buy beautiful clothes. Buy delicious food. Buy things you haven't seen before. In short, spend money, spend money, spend money. Yunqiu was happily enjoying the fun of shopping, but suddenly someone grabbed his wrist. He looked back with confusion and was stunned. Pub Future ads. The two looked at each other, with complicated emotions in their eyes. The crowds around them seemed to have nothing to do with them. Without words, Kokushimu pulled Yunqiu out of the crowd, came to a simple house, pushed the door and walked in. Obviously, this person is so missed, and I thought I would never see him again, but this person is right in front of me, and Kokushimu doesn't know how to speak. Ask her why she never came back? Not even saying goodbye? Ask her why she is alive, but never goes back to see him? But Kokushimu is no longer Yansheng. I'm sorry, I'm late. Yunqiu knew that it was her fault for not going back to tell him before falling asleep. Or she didn't tell him her feelings before leaving, making him wait for her for so long. With just one simple sentence, Kokushimu waited for 194 years, and thought she didn't care about it anymore, but her heart still hurt. Even though Kokushimu's expression didn't change, Yunqiu felt that he was wronged. Yunqiu walked closer, wrapped her arms around his thin waist, put her head on his chest, and patted his back as before. A drop of warm tears fell on his neck. Yunqiu held his face with her hands, gently wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes, and kissed him on the lips. After the two met, they began to live a sweet life as a couple. Muzan and Kokushimu are in a cooperative relationship. They usually don't check their memories, nor do they suddenly come to Kokushimu. Occasionally, he would call him to the Infinite City to chat and enhance their relationship. Seeing Kokushimu's strength increase, Muzan was very happy, and his life had an extra layer of protection. Yunqiu learned about what happened at the beginning from Kokushimu. After Yunyi brought the child back, he asked Yansheng to take care of it. His father immediately thought it was Yunshen's child. Yunyi simply asked his brother to recognize the child as his adopted son and raise him under his name. Not long after, Yansheng also joined the Demon Slayer Corps. The two killed demons together and would go home to see the child from time to time. But Yansheng never waited for Yunqiu to come back, and heard from Yunyi that Yunqiu was a ghoul, which made him even more confused. Later, Iwakatsu opened the markings and knew that he didn't have much time left, but he didn't want to die like this. Muzan found him and asked him to become a demon. But Iwakatsu didn't agree at that time. As time passed, Iwakatsu felt that he was about to die, but Yunqiu still didn't appear, and Iwakatsu was completely panicked. Muzan appeared again, and Iwakatsu compromised this time and chose to become a demon, becoming the current Kokushimu. Before Yoriichi died, Kokushimu went to see him. The two brothers looked at each other for a long time, and all their words became sighs. But in the end, Yunqiu came, and Kokushimu felt that everything he did was worth it. Chapter 24. Time passed quickly. Yunqiu didn't learn the breathing of the sun at first, but Kokushibo taught him the breathing of the moon, so it wasn't too bad. Muzan didn't know that the most powerful fighter under his command was mixed with his enemies, and it seemed that he would follow his wife at any time. If Muzan hadn't controlled Kokushibo's life, Yunqiu would not be able to release the control for the time being. Yunqiu wanted to show his affection with Kokushibo in front of Muzan. If he wanted to release the control, he had to rely on Tamayo. However, Muzan was not idle in these years, because Yunqiu's powerful combat power and weirdness made Muzan more obsessed with finding the blue Higanbana. The expansion of demons was also more crazy, looking for some powerful humans to transform. But Komeiji had been kidnapped by Yunqiu, and he said he would keep a low profile. Muzan didn't target Komeiji, and the upper three Akaza disappeared completely. But Muzan found a more powerful upper rank too, named Goranamiye, who was a female ghost and seemed to be a ninja in her lifetime. Upper rank 3 is Doma, and Goranamiye defeated Doma and replaced him in the bloody battle. It seems that this upper rank 2 is second only to Kokushibo in terms of combat power. The difficulty was increased by Yunqiu, and it is unknown whether Tanjiro and his team can defeat Muzan this time. Pub Future Ads. Gyaku and Hantengu, one looks, hard to describe, eyes are not eyes, mouth is not mouth, probably not very good looking in life, Yunqiu doesn't like it. One is purely bad, did a lot of sneaky things, and said that it was the hand that stole it, not him. Yunqiu would not be like this, what's wrong with me doing bad things? If you have the ability, kill me. If you don't have the ability, shut up. So, these two people, one is upper rank 4 and the other is upper rank 5, and their positions have not changed. When the time came for the prostitute Taro and Mei to become ghosts, Yunqiu decided to move to Yoshiwara Yukaku. Komeiji and Koyoki also moved to other places, continued the Soryu Dojo, accepted many apprentices, and were responsible for the security of Beiwau. Moving was a big project. Yunqiu was used to many things and didn't want to throw them away. She could only find many drivers to move them away. The distance was long, which was very tiring. Yukaku was very large, and the economy was polarized. On one side, it was extremely prosperous, with bright lights and wine, and countless courtesans competing for beauty, while on the other side, there were piles of poor people who couldn't even eat enough. In order to make life convenient, Yunqiu bought a house in the central area. Surrounded by industries such as Kyogokuya that entertained guests, Yunqiu's simple and unpretentious decoration was out of place here. After getting ready, Yunqiu went out for a walk and found that there were 3 Beiwao businesses in Yukuo. He didn't expect that he, the boss, didn't know that the business was so rich. Even entertainment venues for fun are open. Ahem, I'll go to inspect the work tonight. Walking and walking, gradually arrived at the border of Yukuo. A not-so-wide river was like a dividing line. This side was prosperous and magnificent, and the other side was backward and ugly. There were 2 or 3 bridges on the river. Yunqiu walked over. People along the way looked at him with strange eyes and avoided him. Most of those people's clothes were simple, and some were even patched. They looked pale and thin. Yunqiu, who was dressed cleanly in white, and had a stunning appearance, suddenly appeared. No one dared to step forward for fear of offending her. The streets were dirty, rats and flies were everywhere, weeds were overgrown, and sounds of beating and scolding were heard from time to time. It was really chaotic. Chapter 25. Yunqiu was eating apple candy, but her appetite was gone all of a sudden, and she felt that the food in her hand was also stained with the smell. She quickened her pace and shuttled through the streets, but still did not see the shadow of Jifutaro or Mei. There was no way, there were too few descriptions of ghosts, and Yunqiu only knew their general appearance and age, and where they lived specifically. Yunqiu was not checking the household registration, so how could she know so much detail? Adding this, many children were born, but they died quickly, and few survived. The Edo government did not care at all. Maybe they were just registered today, but they were gone tomorrow. Having learned from the previous lessons, Yunqiu came early this time, and there was no situation where Doma dug people away. It could only be that the two people were not born yet. Just thinking about how to understand the situation here in detail, I heard a group of children shouting something. Yunqiu, who had excellent hearing, could hear clearly that they were scolding ugly monsters. I quickened my pace and walked over, and saw a few children who were dressed well, throwing stones at another one. The child was dirty, with messy hair and a skinny body. He was lying on the ground with his head in his arms. "Hey, kids, if you don't run now, you'll be beaten." Yunqiu's voice came from behind, scaring the children away, but they didn't leave. One of the brave ones even contradicted Yunqiu, "What does it have to do with you? We're just playing with him." Yunqiu gave a death smile, which stunned the children. They stood there without speaking or moving. Regardless of their situation, Yunqiu walked up and kicked them one by one, regardless of whether they were men or women. It was light, but it made the children cry and go home. Looking at the prostitute Taro lying on the ground, Yunqiu was a little disgusted. It was too dirty. Finally, she wrapped her hand with a handkerchief, lifted him up with 2 fingers, and then shook him like a rag doll. "Are you okay?" Jifutaro saw Yunqiu's face, was stunned for a long time, then covered his face with his hands and dared not look, shrinking like a hedgehog. Seeing him like this, Yunqiu didn't want to force him, so she stuffed the apple candy she had eaten a few bites of into his hand, and then put it back on the ground. It was also very light, and I didn't feel anything in my hand. There were a lot of things in the food box, some cakes I bought just now, left for him to replenish his body, and then put the food box in his hand next to him. Jifutaro looked at Yunqiu puzzledly through his fingers, holding the apple candy helplessly in his other hand, and curled up against the wall. The dirty puppy looked so pitiful. I really wanted to wash it clean. I patted Jifutaro's head and said, "This is for you." Then I turned and left, leaving Jifutaro staring blankly, holding the bamboo stick tightly in his hands. Jifutaro only nodded until the figure disappeared around the corner. His teeth were crooked and twisted, but it did not affect his eating of the hard-earned food at all. Thinking of his seriously ill mother and his sister who had just turned 4, Jifutaro picked up the things and ran home, looking around vigilantly, fearing that someone would snatch them away. When he returned home, he was greeted by his mother's beating and scolding, hitting his neck and head again and again. The young Jifutaro was powerless to resist. Mei sat aside and cried, grabbing the corner of her mother's clothes, but was pushed away. She kept cursing, and the food she brought back was also overturned and stained with dust on the ground. After he was tired of fighting, he left the 2 siblings here and lay down to sleep. Jifutaro picked up the cakes on the ground, crushed the clean ones and fed them to Mei, ate the dirty ones himself, and carried Mei away from the crazy woman, coaxing her in the corner. Chapter 26. After that, Yunqiu would go to the other side of Rashomon every once in a while to bring some food to Jifutaro to improve his life. At first, Jifutaro, who was hungry, would accept it, but for some reason, he would never take anything from Yunqiu. Yunqiu was also a stubborn person. He would just leave the things and leave, regardless of whether he would take them or not. He would just put them in front of him. As time went by, the 2 of them became more familiar with each other. At least Jifutaro was not so vigilant and was willing to talk to Yunqiu. He would always say thank you. Yunqiu then realized that someone had learned from her and poisoned the food to kill Jifutaro. If he hadn't been lucky, he would have died long ago. Seeing him eat rats and snakes, Yunqiu felt distressed and had a headache. This is my future general. How can he eat so badly? No. Just take the 2 of them over. When he went there again, Yunqiu saw him squatting in the same corner, holding a worn-out sickle in his hand, and in front of him was a nailed-to-death snake, still twisting its body. He cut off the snake's head neatly, then stood up with the snake's twisting body, ready to go home. He looked up and saw Yunqiu standing not far away. Jifutaro hid the sickle and snake behind him in a panic. From a distance, he thought he had a moving tail. Jifutaro was already 10 years old, and still looked very thin, but at least he would not hunch his back or lower his head after Yunqiu's corrections. Sister Yunqiu. Jifutaro hurriedly bowed and greeted her. This was what he learned from others. To treat distinguished guests, one should bow and greet them. Yunqiu was the light in his gloomy life. After his mother's death, she helped the two of them through a very difficult period. On cold snowy days, he would send them quilts, care about their lives, and teach those who bullied him a lesson. How are you doing recently? Jifutaro was a little nervous, so he could only nod and stand up awkwardly. How is Xiaomei? Someone wants to train Xiaomei to be an Waran, and Xiaomei agreed, so she is learning the piano with the boss lady. It turns out that Xiaomei has already started to be a prostitute. It seems necessary to take them away quickly. This is not a good place. There are many old uncles who take advantage of her. If Xiaomei wants to be in Waran, it is safer to leave her under my command and let the people of Sanyuia take care of her. With Xiaomei's appearance, it is only a matter of time before she becomes an Waran. Do you want to take Xiaomei to live with me? I like you very much. Jifutaro was stunned and couldn't believe what he heard. In his eyes, Yunqiu has always been an unattainable existence. Jifutaro is very grateful for her help, but he never dares to ask for more. For people like them at the bottom of Rashomon, being able to live is a luxury. It is a joke to rely on others for life. Jifutaro always hopes that he can become stronger, have the ability to protect his sister, and earn enough money to eat. He thought that Yunqiu would disappear directly, as if she was tired of playing this charity game, but he never thought that she would take him away from such a place. The sound of the snake struggling in his hand brought him back to his thoughts. It took Jifutaro a long time to find his voice. Why? I look so ugly. You are still willing. Yunqiu patted his head, just like when they first met, appearance is only part of it. You are very brave. You protected Xiaomei and raised her well. Life is like this, painful but tenacious. The wrong person is not you, but this world. Sorry, brother Kaneki, I used your famous saying. Chapter 27. It seemed that since he could remember, Jifutaro had never cried again, and life had long numbed him. But when he walked across the bridge with Yunqiu and Xiaomei, the warmth from his palms made his eyes wet. The strange combination walking on the street attracted many people's attention, but after seeing who Yunqiu was, they immediately retracted their gazes. Yunqiu was famous in this area. She had paid a lot of money to meet all the courtesans on the street, and she often gave the most famous courtesans new products from Beiwao. Everyone knew that she had a close relationship with Beiwao, otherwise she would not be able to get the latest clothes to give to the courtesans. Because of Yunqiu's generosity, all the men were furious. You are a woman, why are you visiting the flower street? And you gave such expensive gifts, the courtesans would not even look down on our gifts. But they could only complain a few words and did not dare to say it in front of Yunqiu. It was already dusk when they got home, but the two little guys were a little dirty. Yunqiu felt it necessary to wash them and change them into clean clothes before eating. It happened that Kokushimu also came back from the Infinite Castle. After watching Muzan go crazy, he scolded the lower string and whipped the upper string. It should be quiet for a while. Kokushimu, who was in a good mood, was cooking at the moment. He was really a good family man. Although Kokushimu didn't eat these, Yunqiu did. So he spent a lot of time learning, and now his cooking skills can be said to be amazing. Wow, is it vegetable stew? It smells so good. It will be ready soon, go wash your hands first. Kokushimu looked back at the two children he brought back, but he scared them. The two children grabbed Yunqiu's clothes in fear. Yunqiu could only pat them to comfort them. This is my husband, he is a ghost. His eyes became 6 after he turned into a ghost. He won't hurt you. Mei looked at Kokushibo again, and continued to hold Yunqiu tightly, and Jifutaro also held Yunqiu's clothes with one hand. The nervous look of the two amused Yunqiu. Let me give them a bath before eating, it will be quick. As he said that, he led people to the bathroom, and Kokushibo was stunned for a second, and decisively put down the spatula. I will help this little ghost wash, you can't wash too by yourself. Ah! Won't the soup be overcooked? Yunqiu was a little confused, when did he like children so much? But he was willing to help. Yunqiu could also relax a little, and went to the bathroom with Mei in his arms. This house is not too big, there is only one bathroom, but there are many bathtubs, you can soak in water. Jifutaro was very resistant. After all, this man had no expression on his face and stared at him with 6 eyes. Anyone would be scared, right? If he didn't want his wife to bathe other men, he couldn't bathe children either. He didn't want to bathe this kid. Fortunately, Jifutaro didn't want him to do it either, and Kokushibo was there to help change the water. Soon 2 brand new children were born. After changing into new clothes, they all looked much more energetic, especially Jifutaro, whose gloomy temperament had dissipated. At dinner time, the 3 of them sat at the table and feasted, and Kokushibo was watching from the side. Speaking of Yunqiu with silver hair and purple eyes, and Mei with silver hair and blue eyes, at first glance, the 2 really look like sisters. Sister, doesn't he eat? Mei looked at Yunqiu with some doubts, her blue eyes full of curiosity. He specializes in eating bad people, not this. Mei just nodded, and Jifutaro didn't think much about it, thinking it was a lie to fool Mei. It was not until later, when he saw other ghosts eating people, that Jifutaro realized that Yunqiu's words were really what they said. Chapter 28. After a good sleep, Yunqiu felt refreshed. He asked Sanyuwu to go to the other side of Rashomon and take back the contract signed by Xiaomei. Xiaomei would study in Sanyuwu from now on. The name Jifutaro was too ugly and had a bad meaning. After Yunqiu asked for his opinion and confirmed that he didn't mind changing his name, he changed his name to Yinchuan. He asked him if he wanted to do anything. He still wanted to become stronger as always. Yunqiu sent him to the only dojo in this area to learn swordsmanship and exercise. The days passed one by one, which was peaceful and fulfilling. After Yinchuan finished training every day, he would go to Sanyuwu to pick up Xiaomei, and then they would go home together. 6 years passed in a flash. Xiaomei was 16 years old and became the most famous courtesan in Yukio. Tonight was her first parade. Yunqiu followed the crowd and saw that she had grown from a little kid to a young girl. He felt relieved that his daughter had grown up. Just as I was sighing, I suddenly smelled a strong, pungent smell mixed with blood. It seems that a ghost has come to Yoshiwara Flower Street. It seems to be quite strong. The food is delivered to the door, Yunqiu will definitely accept it with a smile, and then thank Muzan for the gift. But looking at the direction the ghost left, is it targeting Xiaomei? After the parade, Xiaomei returned to Sanyuia. Many people came up to praise her. Logwa was also very happy and asked the prostitutes to help Xiaomei take off these heavy clothes. Yunqiu didn't understand. Did this guy plan to wait a while before taking action because there were too many people? Yunqiu was not in a hurry. He wanted to see what she was going to do, so he squatted on the roof and waited. Until Yinchuan came to pick up Xiaomei, this guy still followed, but didn't take action. It wasn't until he turned a corner that the lower string 3 used blood demon art to shoot steel needles, trying to shoot the 2 into hedgehogs. Fortunately, Yinchuan reacted quickly and felt something was wrong. He hugged Xiaomei and fell to the side, and then dodged. Yinchuan stood up and protected Xiaomei behind him. Looking at the place where the attack came from, he saw a woman in a black kimono standing on the roof. After seeing Yunqiu, the lower third frowned and said, "Ugly." Yunqiu wanted to scold this person for being rude when she heard it. "Although I am the most beautiful in the world, I will not call others ugly." Yunqiu is now immune to such verbal attacks. He just wants to see what this person wants to do. His behavior just now can't be said to be friendly. The lower third was eager to eat clean food, Xiaomei after bathing, and didn't want to talk to him more, so he directly used the blood demon technique to summon a group of bats. Yunqiu could only take out a knife to chop, but there were so many bats that there would always be one or two missed. Xiaomei didn't know martial arts at all, so she could only dodge. The lower third didn't go down at all, and kept summoning bats to kill the two people. In less than half an hour, both of them were covered with bite marks. Yunqiu's hands could no longer hold the knife steadily, and his muscles ached from exerting force for a long time. He had become stronger, but he still couldn't protect Xiaomei. The feeling of powerlessness became stronger and stronger, and Yunqiu could only grit his teeth and persist. Yunqiu felt that it was time to go down, otherwise the two children would be sucked dry. Urging Yuhi, Yunqiu kicked the lower string 3 from behind and kicked him directly in front of Yunqiu and his sister. The pain of this kick was so severe that the lower string 3 couldn't even raise his head. Feeling that this move was somewhat familiar, Yunqiu moved his eyes away from the lower string 3 and saw Yunqiu, with a pair of flowing purple flame wings behind him. Chapter 29. Yuhi condensed RC cells, hardened the Kogun and fired, killing all the bats. Seeing that upper rank 3 was about to raise her head, Yunqiu stepped on her head and pushed it into the ground. "I let you bully me, go eat dirt." When Xiaomei saw Yunqiu coming, she threw herself into Yunqiu's arms and cried like a child with the support of her parents. Yunqiu stood there with the sword in silence. Yunqiu reached out and touched his head. "You are already very powerful, you did a good job." Yunqiu was not comforted, but shook his head, "I am too weak. If my sister hadn't come, we would definitely be killed by her. I want to become stronger. At least I have to beat this guy. It is a good thing to want to become stronger." Yunqiu
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना।